There's no denying it. Jamaica has faced some of its most difficult economic moments over the last 50 years. One of the most significant of those moments was during the late 1980s, when poverty levels reached their highest recorded rate in modern Jamaican history, nearly 44%. That meant almost half the country was officially below the poverty line. This didn't happen in isolation, and it didn't happen overnight. It occurred during a time of global economic tension, structural adjustment policies, and shifting political ideologies. The People's National Party, PNP that is, was in office during this time, and the decisions made then, both domestic and international, played a role in shaping the experience of everyday Jamaicans.
Welcome to Motivational Mela TV podcast. And we're just gonna break down today why PNP love the poor and why so many poor people love the PNP party. Let's go. If a man say he's for the poor, what is idea of loving the poor be? The man who love the poor gonna feed the poor, gonna give the poor basic education, and I'm gonna feed the poor. Why? Because that poor man gonna always come back to him for food and money. Remember them say if you teach a man to fish, him now go come back to you, come ask you for any fish. But if you give him a fish, him go always come back to you for a fish. And this is the thing with PNP party. When PNP said they are for the poor, PNP gonna always keep the people in poverty. Them now go give you a business to start your own because they don't want you to go up on your own and become independent. So the problem is when people say PNP is for the poor, they are for the poor because them now go do anything to get you out of poverty. So PNP will always feed you and give you one look of money in your hand for you feel nice. So them using a psychology and the people to say yes, we is for the poor. How much of these people poor PNP take out of poverty? None. So the few people who say them love the PNP and PNP is for the poor. PNP never take your grandmother out of poorness. PNP never take your grandfather out of poorness. Him keep them in poor. And you become poor just the same like your parents and your grandparents. And you love the PNP just the same because when you want to look for food and a basic education, he will give it to you, no problem. But him not go teach you how to fish because he don't want you to go up on your own and know what them know. So understand these people.
Watch this video, guys. This girl says she rather suffer herself under the PNP rather than to vote for the Labour Right Party we actually had the work. Can you believe it? Watch this and share this so the message can go across, okay?
Meet my eyes them. Me say if I even one eye shadow me have left, Labour can't come essential. I rather walk on the one eye shadow and go put it 10 times, dip it 10 times in the ink and Labour right now come here. We not go no make we turn over here and suffer. We like the bad road and we like the without water. We will go river go bathe. No worry yourself, a lot of spring that central we go up they go climb the hills and go bathe. We don't want no Labour right here. We alright.
No, this a girl is really wicked to herself. Wicked to herself. Visit development and improvement are come in your area, come improve your life. And you say you rather suffer and support blind loyalty politicians that come around just one time per election just to get your vote, rather give you some rum or whatever, and then left your constituency for 50 odd years in a disrepute, underdeveloped, no running water. Nothing, no major achievements in that constituency, and you rather follow back at them blindly. While them get constituency development funds to attend to your constituency, and them neglect it. And you say, next party I come in and I tell us, say, look here, we can improve that. We're about to run water. We're about to do anything, transformative changes in your constituency. And you say, you don't never vote them in. You rather continue to vote in the sufferation, the poverty, the underdevelopment, the starvation. Because that is what the PNP has brought to your constituency for over 50 odd years. And the sad thing,
when the LCBO want more money, them protest, them strike, them lock down the business. When Jamaican want things to done, then go up on social media and talk. Can't work so. I'm not lazy. I only love to talk with no action. PMP have a poor mentality, broke the people them for stay poor. They endorse poverty, they endorse poorness, they endorse laziness. Because them sit down and expect the government, I will create job for the government, I will give you money, government, I will give you housing. That's what the foundation of the PNP party has done to the Jamaican people. And the old people and the PNP party still endorse this thing. Them say Andrew rich. And Andrew all want him friend them for rich. I cannot have a poor leader. If my leader poor, then how me I will get rich and successful? My leader have to be wealthy and successful. And I can learn from my leader and try to motivate myself to be successful the same. But if you're going to say, oh, the people are poor, poor people want this, poor people want that, these are them play a trick for your mind to keep you in a poverty. And that is what the PNB organization is doing. Keep the people poor, keep them weak, keep them uneducated, and they can always have the power to tell the people what they can do and how them to move and how them to operate. If they can control the people's mind, they will always be the leader. And that is what the organization of the PNP party had done. Play a trick on the people in mind. Keep them dunce and literate and keep them poor. And I'm always coming running back to them. No, learn, virgin. One Anjo, this operation shall continue.
For the average Jamaican living through, that era, it wasn't about party colors. It was about food on the table, access to jobs, and, dignity in daily life. These were years marked by economic instability, currency devaluation, shortages, and social anxiety. Whether you are living uptown or downtown, the ripple effects were felt across society. To be clear, pointing to the years when poverty was highest is not a matter of blame, it's a matter of record. According to data from the Planning Institute of Jamaica, 1989 stands as a year when poverty reached unprecedented levels. That year serves as a symbol of how deeply economic challenges can affect a nation. And yet, Jamaica's story didn't end there. In decades since, we have also seen progress, stabilization, and critical reforms, many of which have improved access to education, infrastructure, and overall quality of life. Different administration, including those under the Jamaica Labour Party (JLP), have helped steer the country toward recovery in various ways. This isn't about who was right or who was wrong, it's about what ordinary people endured and how far we've come. To understand the significance of poverty reaching 44%, we must consider what that means beyond, just numbers. It meant parents skipping meals so their children could eat. It meant youth dropping out of school to help support families. It meant entire communities experiencing hopelessness, even as promises of reform echoed across political platforms. During the 1970s into the 1980s, Jamaica was heavily influenced by a global economic climate that was unkind to developing nations. The country was navigating ideological shifts, from democratic socialism to structural adjustment programs demanded by international lenders. In the midst of this, the PNP, led by Michael Manley, was grappling with balancing national sovereignty and global economic pressures. Whether one agrees or disagrees with those policies, the reality remains that the Jamaican people bore the weight of those economic experiments and their consequences. Inflation soared, the Jamaican dollar weakened, access to basic goods became harder. These are not partisan statements. They are part of the lived reality that many Jamaicans can still recall with clarity. By contrast, subsequent periods saw deliberate efforts to stabilize the economy, reduce poverty, and encourage growth under both parties, including the JLP, particularly during the 2000s and into 2010. The country began to see real gains. For example, by 2007, poverty was reduced to under 10%, according to PIOJ data. These improvements didn't mean all problems were solved. Far from it, but they signaled that lessons had been, learned. Reforms in public financial management, education, health, and private sector support began to slowly lift Jamaica's out of survival mode and into opportunity. The JLP's more recent focus on economic discipline, debt reduction, and infrastructural development has contributed to measurable gains. From upgraded roads to tech investments, Jamaica has seen moments of momentum. However, no government has had it easy. Global pandemics, climate related disasters, and external financial pressures have all continued to test the country's resilience. What's important to acknowledge is that improvement is possible, and it's not owned by any of a political party. It comes when leadership, institutions, and communities work in tandem to prioritize the well-being of people, especially the vulnerable. So, where does this leave us? It leaves us with a truth that is neither partisan nor dismissive. The highest poverty levels in Jamaica occurred during a period of national struggle under the PNP's leadership. That's not about condemnation. It's about understanding that full scope of history. That period exposed just how fragile economies can be when they are overly reliant on external support, when governance models aren't backed by adequate planning, and when global markets shift without mercy. It also taught us about the human cost of political and economic experimentation. For the people who lived through it, the data is not just statistics; it's memories, it's sacrifice, it's perseverance. And as Jamaica moved into the 1990s and 2000s, successive governments had the task of not just growing the economy, but rebuilding public trust. That trust comes slowly, often through practical improvements that people, can see and feel. Reduced poverty, better roads, access to healthcare, and job opportunities. Under the JLP's leadership, Jamaica has seen strides in debt reduction, foreign investment attraction, and infrastructure development. Major highway projects, investments in technology, and increased efforts to boost tourism have brought new energy into parts of the economy. Crime, of course, remains a challenge, but poverty reduction is cornerstone of long-term solutions to that issue. Still, the work is not finished. Even today, inequality persists. Urban areas thrive while some rural communities remain neglected. Youth unemployment, especially in marginalized areas, is still a pressing, concern. And while statistics show economic improvement, the feeling of upward mobility still escapes many Jamaicans. That's why revisiting the past is not about political scorekeeping. It's about clarity. It's about ensuring that no generation forgets what economic collapse looks like and what must be done to avoid it. We must also acknowledge that every administration has its own strength and shortcomings. The PNP led important education and cultural initiatives. The JLP has spearheaded infrastructure and economic recovery. The country's path forward depends on partnership, but on learning from all eras of our journey. Jamaica is not a failure story. Jamaica is a survival story through colonialism, political violence, economic depression, and global pandemics. Jamaicans have endured, and they've done so with creativity, tenacity, and faith. If there's a lesson to be drawn from the period when poverty was highest, it's this: policy has consequences, and leadership must always be people centered. It also means the public must stay informed, not just about which party is in office, but about what policies are in place and how those policies affect daily life. In the end, whether red or green, rural or urban, young or old, what Jamaicans want is dignity, opportunity, peace, and it's the responsibility of every political leader, regardless of party, to deliver that. So let's move forward, grounded in truth, not division. Let's remember the struggles, acknowledge the gains, and commit to a future where no Jamaican ever has to live through another period where nearly half the country is below the poverty line. Because we are not our past, but we are accountable to it. Guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Also, remember to subscribe, like, and share as well. And until next time, bye bye.